So I have got to ask you, you know, when I have more questions along this, but I want to make sure we can get to other things as well. So just like, when did you finally realize, or when did you come to the idea that I can no longer take this and I'm gonna go
Well,
try to find a different place or a different life? When did you come to that realization? How did it start?
it's lots of years, lots of years. Mao died when I was 12. So when he died, imagine this. You are told, long live Chiang Mao every day for 6 days a week. You went to government schools and you were brainwashed, indoctrinated every day, think Mao was God. And you say, long live Chiang Mao, 10,000 years, another 10,000 years. Can you imagine we never questioned that? We just thought he was God. He will never die. When you say double 10,000 years, double another 10, it's like he's going to live 1 million years. Nobody ever questioned that. No. So he was really like our God. So when he died, I guess I had a little bit brain left still. I just could not believe it. Chairman Mao died. He was talking to me from sky when I was so brainwashed as a child. I saw him smiling at me, his smiling face arise from the fire, wood we burn. How could he die? That's when really I started. Of course, the beginning I was so sad. I was totally lost. I don't know what to believe anymore, but I also start to think about it. How, how did he die? Why did he die? Did somebody lie to us? What's going on? I start to question. I was always the best student, right? I was mouse and young pioneer, wear red scarf. I was part of a red guard, and I was class president and 3 married students, and chanting every day. So I start to say, oh, this does not sound right. Did anybody lie to us, lie to my generation and my parents' generation? Because everybody was sad, was lost, and he died. Guess what? Only take another 5 years for the Communist Party to come out to say, Mao made a mistake. He was human. 10 years, Cultural Revolution was a mistake because our economy was just, basically collapsed. And but I did not have to wait for 5 years for me to go to college. When Mao died, 1978, 77 actually, Deng Xiaoping and started to open up Chinese schools again. When Mao shut down schools during the Cultural Revolution for young people to do political struggles, right? 5 red against 5 black classes, and they can have time to do whole full-time struggle sessions. And later, Mao sent them to countryside for 10 years. I was lucky because I was younger. I'm not like my uncle generation get sent to countryside, get re-educated by parents, stuck there for 10 years. So I was 12, so then I started to go to school, and the middle school, high school, and the college opened 1977. I had a new dream. Oh, maybe I can find the truth. Maybe I can search for truth in college if I just learn about what happened during the Cultural Revolution and during Mao's time when we told long live, long live. And but then I did not know what truth is. I did not find the truth in college either. So when I was 17, I went to law school in Shanghai, and it's of course centralized. Still, all schools are controlled by government. Every department has a Communist Party committee, and I thought if I study law, maybe I could help China to become a society rule of law instead of rule of man. Like it means like one man can do so much damages like that. And but I was told law is not for justice. The law is a tool for the party to use to govern the masses. I was lost again after a couple weeks in college. Law school is like a 4 years college. I was 17. What should I believe now then? I wanted to have justice. I wanted to have a protection for regular citizens. But now they told me the law, the legal system, just a tool. It's a Soviet Union model. You are guilty until you prove yourself to be innocent. Who can prove yourself to be innocent against a powerful state? When one party controls all the prosecutors, all the law enforcement, all the military, and all the courthouses, you are a powerless individual citizen. So I become a very rebellious in college. I start to look for truth. Guess what? 80s was best time actually in my life that time in China. And even compared with now, the 80s was the time for opening reforms and the cultural renaissance. And we had dancing parties. We had the foreign students and scholars come to our universities. And we were talking about political reforms, not just economic reforms, to see what kind of country we would like to have. So I started to see all the foreigners as my source of truth and information. So I started to go to dancing parties. I met some foreign and country exchange students. And I will ask them with my very broken English, tell me about your country. Very slowly, right? You got a French, Holland, American students, and we had the parties with them. And we start to lay our hair down, dance and chant and with broken English. And I met an American student, and he told me to go visit him. He has something to show me from America. And I went to his dormitory. Remember, all the dormitories were guarded by guards. So when you go to specially visit a foreign student, you have to register. You have to sign in and sign out what you talk about, your dormitory, your major, your name, to keep track. What? Who is going to talk to foreigners.
Wait. So you have to tell them what you talked about.
Yes, they want to know.
Oh.
So you better be smart, right? Don't trust the system. Don't trust the authorities. Right. So at the beginning, I thought he was going to talk about, show me some art piece from America. So I put down art. Then later he read to me, first paragraph in his pocket constitution about, the first paragraph in the Declaration of Independence. Very slowly, my English wasn't good. Then we held those truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I could not understand that, Christine. I had to ask him. I don't understand. He told me, you can be Chinese, a woman, yellow skin, but you are created by God, Lily. And you have this natural right as you individual. It's like, think about your light bulbs came on, right? Oh, I have rights. I never heard of individual rights before. It's always workers' rights, peasants' rights, soldiers' rights, women's rights, never about individual right. What do you mean individual? It's me, by my own existence.
That is beautiful. The fact that you were in a dictatorship where you had seen a system go against your conscience, go against your rights constantly, and then a glimmer of light from America, who was over there studying, took out the Constitution and implanted that seed in your mind, and you just took that and something clicked. And so after it clicked,
well, because what he said to me, he said to me is so powerful. And then I reflect my past life. I met him when I was 19. I reflect my life in the past 19 years. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, teacher. What hairstyle you can have, how much food you can eat, what songs you can sing, what dance you can do. And you could not date. Dating was banned. You could not have a crush on a handsome boy. And you gotta be loyal to this God, Chair Mai Mao. And the parties are always right. Your teachers, your principals are always right. I think about the life I went through, and I hear this new concept. It's like, something is just opening up, can never shut off. So later, I learned when I went back, I still talk about, I just refuse to register. I tell myself, I have rights. I know why they don't want me to go, because they don't want me to talk about this important stuff that to open up my mind. So I was a stray rat. I know this lady will go to bathroom, will go to get a hot tea, get a hot water. So I would just cheat. I would just run upstairs very quietly. When she's not paying attention, she's gone temporarily. And I just, tiptoe very quiet. And that same thing, you come down, because I want to know a little bit more about America. Then we talk about the country system, the founding fathers' documents. You have a separation of powers. Not just one party is always right. Then you have a voting rights, all that Bill of Rights. I get to choose who I want to represent me, to be my representative in the government. Then I have a free speech, freedom of religion, a free association, and all those Bill of Rights, especially, oh my God, I have a Second Amendment. Can you imagine that all Chinese are disarmed? And you're talking about this country,
Right.
People have right to bear arms. It's like, I never touched any guns in my entire 24 years in China. We were totally disarmed. You could not even have some knives. So the only thing you could protect yourself, we were told, our kitchen choppers, the big chopper used to chop the chickens when you have a Chinese
Yeah.
New Year, the Chinese cooking show, bang, bang, bang. That's our weapon. We know
no.
chopstick will not work, right? Yeah. So I will say that's the moment I open up my mind, my light bulbs came on. I start to question my authorities, even in law school. And he put something into my head. If I have to leave China someday to escape all this, which country would I like to live? I could go to Europe, right, to study, to go to graduate school. But I say, I love this country, have guaranteed rights and separate government who, let the people to keep them limited and vote them in or vote them out. And, their powers are given by the people. I love those concepts. So I say, this is the country I would like to go. And I think after that, when I become law school faculty, I realized I could not fulfill my dream in China to change China to a rule of law society. Because the one party rule, how can you have a rule of law when you have a dictatorship? So I figured out pretty quickly where other people were still trying to deal with it, right? Because when I become law school faculty member, 5 students out of 60 first class graduates, I got an offer to stay in Shanghai to be faculty member to also practice law part-time. And that reality kicked in. I was no longer a rebellion student going to my dancing parties, going to bonfire and escaping my curfew for 10 o'clock at night and doing all kind of rebellion stuff. I couldn't do that anymore because I have a Communist Party boss in my department said, you got to join Communist Party. You got to go to your political study every week because you are law school faculty. Your loyalty is aligned with the party. You cannot even be independent or non-party member. So I was pressured and they put me into the party and then they watched me like a hawk for 1 year. So they watched me, was quiet during the political study meeting weekly. I was no longer able to do kumbaya. Yes, I support. My light bulb came on, they don't turn off. But when I realized I want to go to the United States to leave China, how I'm going to flee that? Because without the party boss permission, you cannot go get a passport. They have to give you a piece of paper to apply for passport to travel, to go to abroad, to study. So I had to be that straight red again. I had to, change my strategy. I went to studies. I buttered up my boss. Yes, I support party. I support. I have to active participate You cannot just go sit on there quiet. They can tell from my eyes, I was not happy. I was challenging them silently. So I had to change the strategy. So I finally got 7 trips to passport with their permission, 2 times to consulate. And but of course, they asked me to sign a contract. The contract is that you promise to go back to China after you graduate school. Even though I left, I got enrolled into graduate school by spending my own money and on my own time. But they told me, you come back, serve your country, or you need to sign this agreement. We're gonna kick you out of the party, okay? And second one is we're gonna kick your personnel file to your hometown in Chengdu. Personnel file is like a household registration system. You are tracked where you're supposed to live. As a legal resident, you don't have freedom of movement. So you cannot just pack your bag and move from Chengdu, second tier city, to Shanghai, first tier city. It will take you years and years to change their status. And when your parents got married, you get a household registration. They're supposed to live in Chengdu, in this neighborhood. You live there. You live there. You cannot just move to another province, another even city. So I knew the consequences. If I don't go back, they're going to kick me file back to Chengdu. I will never be able to live, work as a legal resident in Shanghai, which I thought was an international commerce center, more open, more Westerners. I did not want to go to Southwest China, which is Sichuan, Chengdu, next to Tibet, because it's just not so advanced. It's more backwards. And, so I signed it. In order to leave, I signed it. I don't know where everything is now, Christine. I bet I could be hunted in my nightmare. My personnel file, all my records are back to Chengdu. And those records, by the way, it's a secret file. You and your parents are never allowed to see it. It's only shared by government agencies and by your future employers. You don't get to see it. You don't get to correct it. You don't belong to yourself. There's no self-ownership. You have no personal sovereignty.
So
so that's my nightmare, I guess. They could be hunting me later.